You ever played Earthbound, that weird Super Nintendo RPG that no one would know about if it weren't for Super Smash Bros.? That game is incredible, and if you've ever played that, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say that Undertale is similar to it and the rest of the Mother series in more than one regard. In Undertale, you play as a human, well, yourself actually. You fall into the underground world of monsters who were sealed away by the humans long ago. The entire game is about trying to escape the underworld while avoiding, fighting, or befriending all the monsters that want you dead. I know that's a bit of a sucky summary, but we'll touch on that a bit more later. Undertale might look like a simple game visually, but I'm not sure I could see it in any other way. The game strives to look like a more classic JRPG from the NES and Super Nintendo era, with colorful sprites and environments. The fights are very similar to Dragon Quest or Earthbound, wherein their battle sprites have a lot more detail than their small overworld sprites. The monsters are all unique and kinda goofy, but most importantly, they're memorable. That alone is very important for the fights that occur in the game. Every battle sprite is white, with the color being used to indicate how to handle certain attacks. Every area is well done, provoking mystery and intrigue. The music in Undertale is pretty expansive, all things considered. Like the characters and locations, it'll stick with you, especially the boss music. Every character theme is catchy and feels perfect for the fight you're in, as are the tunes for each setting you'll find yourself in. Between both, the tone of Undertale is guaranteed to strike a chord with any character at any given time. Alright, I'm gonna stop this review for a moment here, just dead in its tracks. Undertale is straight up one of the hardest games I've ever wrote a review for. Everything I've said so far could be swapped out for, I don't know, almost any other game I like. Right here. This is Undertale's biggest problem. With its ability to tell one of the most engaging stories in games I've seen in a long time, talking about Undertale without spoiling something feels impossible. I've been vague because there isn't much choice here. Now, with that in mind, let's continue. While Undertale looks, sounds, and can play like a JRPG, there's several twists in the gameplay. For starters, you can go through all of Undertale without killing a single other being. Undertale presents the player with alternatives, such as talking, which will eventually lead you to sparing the monster you're fighting. With this system in play, Undertale comes off as more of an adventure game at times rather than an RPG. There's plenty of other moments where the adventure influence seeps through, mainly with all the secrets sprinkled throughout the game and the instances of use the item here. With options of using your wits over your brawn, you'll find that even the fights become a puzzle. Each round gives a bit of a context clue as to how the monster is reacting, and you can judge your next action accordingly. Of course, if you don't want to go that route, you can also just kill everything that comes across your path. Being able to play the game in different styles means you'll affect the overall story as well. There are times where characters will say or react to you based on the decisions that you make. One fight can make all the difference in the world, with everything accumulating at the end. I can't say any more than that without ruining everything, but I haven't had a game literally mess with me in ages in the way that Undertale did. One thing to note, however, is just because you won't attack doesn't mean the monsters won't. While it gives the illusion of being a standard JRPG, Undertale does defense a bit differently. Instead of just facing the attack head-on, Undertale has mini-games that are very similar to the shoot-'em-up style games. You take control of this tiny heart while projectiles are thrown at you, and it's up to you to avoid each one or risk damage. Having more of an interactive style in an RPG isn't completely foreign, as the Mario RPGs tend to incorporate button presses into defending and attacking, but have never quite run into something like what Undertale does. And just when you think you've got it all figured out, several bosses will throw curveballs your way and change the rules on you. It never feels unfair, however, it just adds more excitement to each fight. If there's anything I can say against Undertale, it is a bit short. Some of those boss battles can drag, and without healing items, or skill, you might be repeating certain ones quite a bit, which can suck. While rare, there are a couple puzzles where the perspective can be an issue. And while Undertale has them reined back, it does do the classic JRPG random encounter, which, sort of sucks, but they're really not that bad. And these are all very small, nitpicky things, complaints so objective that some players may not even notice them. Undertale has one of the best stories, better yet, experiences that I've played in a game for a long time. Every piece of the story, especially when it comes together, is effective. There's so much more I want to say about Undertale, but in doing so, I'll negate reasons to even play the game. It goes back to the biggest complaint I had about it in the first place. It's so hard to talk about! But it's not really a complaint. In fact, it's a compliment. A game being this indescribable deserves your attention, and you'll see it from the very beginning. Undertale subverts your expectations and will make you laugh just as much as it'll make your jaw drop. The few kinks it has aren't even close enough to damage the experience, and the only way you should pass is if you can't stand a story-driven game, or you don't like to read. But if that's the case, you're probably not the person to be watching this series anyway.